We've had a couple of different changes, the latest being the beginning of October. The New York State Department of Health came out with new guidelines regarding students' return to school and staff's return to school. If they're ill, if they're not feeling well, if they display symptoms. So previously, parents had to get their student tested in order to return to school. They had to have a negative test. And that was the only thing. And they had to have a doctor's note. So now students aren't required to get tested, staff aren't required to get tested, but they are required to go to the doctor and to have a note. And the note has to explain the symptoms. And the note also has to, the diagnosis has to be lab determined. So that's a major change. So we had a lot of students and staff who had to be tested. It was mandated before. That's not a mandate now. So that's one of the big changes. But with that change, we've had to work with our partners at Samaritan, who have helped us greatly in working with local physicians and clinics to make sure that the notes are proper when they come back. We want to make sure our students and staff are safe. So again, that communication has been key throughout this process, and it continues to evolve. And a question I get a lot from people, even over the weekend, we've had a few positive cases, as you know, and people are concerned. People who have to go under quarantine, they're asking quite often, well, does that mean that the person with whom I live or my children, do we have to get tested? They have to get tested? Are we okay? I mean, I talked to a person who was exposed to a person. It's called the tertiary contact, and those tertiary contacts, they don't need to quarantine. They don't need to isolate. So that's been one of the biggest questions that we've had. We meet with everybody through the contact tracing process in partnership with public health, and we try to quell people's, it's an anxiety provoking time for everyone, probably one of the most anxiety provoking times in history. And to be a teacher and to be in the institution that we're in is very special. And there's a lot of involvement and a lot of responsibility that comes along with it. This whole pandemic has added a whole different layer. And I'm just amazed, and I can speak for Mrs. Labar and our other assistant superintendent, Mrs. Eager Converse, that our teachers and staff, everyone have stepped up to the plate, and they've done some amazing things. And I think that when people are pushed and we're given these circumstances, we see people's real talents come out. And again, we couldn't do this without a team effort from everybody.